All right, we're live. Let's see. Let's go here. See if we got our comments right here.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Take that one back on.
Sweet. There we go. All right.
So we got a couple of minutes and we'll get started here in just a little bit with Dave and Phil.
It's been a vacation. It was a holiday weekend. We're celebrating all those men and women that paid the ultimate price, right?
Paid that
Yeah.
sacrifice so we can have our freedoms. Huh?
We get to sit here today and do this because they did that for us. So thank you for families that lost members, and we remember this weekend.
Definitely.
It's more than barbecues and lake trips, isn't it? Although all the brothers and sisters we've known that paid the price, they would want you to barbecue and go to the lake and have fun. And
yep,
you know,
that's a fact. So here's a little known fact, and I didn't know this till yesterday. Share of Memorial Day story. So yesterday, my wife got a note about a statue in a cemetery in Oklahoma of a mother, wife holding a flag.
I saw that.
That is at Gracelawn Cemetery in Edmond, Oklahoma. It's been there less than a year.
Wow.
If you go to Gracelawn in Edmond, you'll see a really neat, thoughtful statue about veteran sacrifice. It's amazing. So I would recommend it.
I just saw that too. I was surprised. I didn't know it existed either.
And we went on a field trip yesterday after my wife got sent the note that you need to check this out. So we got the kids and went to the cemetery and paid our respects. So it was kind of fun.
That's awesome. We had, I'm not sure if they're on Facebook yet or not, but Congresswoman Stephanie Bice was up here yesterday doing a big memorial celebration and brought a wreath in for us and put
big
it
supporter
on the Union
veterans,
Cemetery right next door to our headquarters here. So
yeah,
that was pretty cool.
she's a big supporter of the veterans.
She is.
Most definitely.
So we got 3 people here.
Well, I think Phil one of them. Or
I shared it. I just shared it.
Okay, I know I've got mine going, so I'm one of them.
I just shared it.
So for those of you that are there and it's not us, drop your name or a hello in the comments for us. So we know you're here. We look forward to talking to you today. It's going to be fun. We're going to share some stuff, and we're all going to figure out how to build the best veteran team in Oklahoma with veteran business owners to do great stuff. So
I'll go back and make sure my share is shared.
Looks like it's right at 11 o'clock. We'll give it about one more minute. How's that sound for you guys?
Works
See if
for me.
anybody else gives us a second to join.
hey, Tracy. Hey, Colleen. Thanks for popping into the comments. We appreciate you being here today. Hopefully you learned something, and hopefully you have fun. Please ask questions, offer comments and suggestions, because the feedback and the two-way on this makes it fun and exciting for everybody. So it's not just another one of the things where we're just talking to you and we're kind of sharing information and getting better.
Colleen actually works for us as our part of
Awesome.
our web design as well, but
Oh,
she
really?
also has her own business and everything.
Oh, very
too.
good.
So great to see Colleen on there.
So we got a smart person in there.
You don't hear me say that very often, do you, Colleen? We're very glad she's there and glad Tracy's with us too, definitely. And hopefully we'll have some more join. If not, it'll be on here so it can still be enjoyed later, and I'll send out the slideshow afterwards. That way that can be utilized from there on out. Showing about 9 people on. If you don't mind, if you haven't so far, put your name in there and say hello to us so we have record of who you are, or maybe even your company name if you don't mind, so we can work with you and keep your name on the list and everything. So
Tracy's up in Claremore. Love that town. Love that town. Great city.
Claremore. Who's famous from Claremore? Where's Will Rogers from?
I'm not sure.
Is he Claremore area?
Sure.
Tracy, who's famous from up there? Down there.
It's up there, isn't it?
It's northeast of us.
Yeah.
North of Tulsa.
It's a second Monday, I'm telling you.
Will Rogers is
You
somewhere.
know your cabinet secretary and on-time takeoff is on time, right?
Always.
Yeah, but he's very important to him.
Yes. What are you trying to say, Dave? Gee, I have you come on the show and never happens.
Dave's taking over.
Well, I guess with Dave's instructions,
Yeah, jeez,
we
my
need to
goodness.
go ahead and get started here.
It's a little awkward right now.
So again, we are very glad that you guys are here, including Dave. But we'll go ahead and get started with our presentation.
You just pulled the general like a loaded 45. I just realized.
I haven't got a chance to pick on him in a long time. He was picking on me.
Oh boy!
But I do want to thank Dave and Phil being here from Excellent Consulting Company. They are both veterans. I want to let them tell a little bit about themselves, so they get to introduce themselves instead of me having to try to read some kind of bio or impersonable type situation there. So I'm going to start out with whichever one wants to speak first. You'll quickly find that Phil is the quiet one.
Yes.
No. But you'll get to know and love these guys like I have so far. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys for that.
No, Phil, jump in.
No, you're higher ranking than me. Go ahead.
You already threw that rank. What do you mean?
Oh, he's hurting my feelings over here. I'm just a retired dude. So Dave Evans, I live here in Edmond, Oklahoma City area. I have a wife and 2 wonderful children. I spent 23 years in our Air Force flying airplanes around. Was blessed to command a couple of squadrons along the way. And then my wife, like most spouses, said, we're done traveling. We're done with you being gone. It's time for you to retire and be a dad. So I retired, and out of that retirement came Exxon and a strong passion to work with veteran-owned businesses, because Phil and I think both feel that's the way we can serve our country. So that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, I'm Phil Nichols. I'm from the greatest town in Oklahoma, Guthrie, Oklahoma, is where we call home, the first state capital. We want the seal back, in case anybody's wondering. We want it back. No, but Air Force veteran as well. Dave flew him. I jumped out of him. But married.
You didn't jump out while Dave was flying.
Well, I told him if he flew him better, I wouldn't have to.
Okay.
But he never paid attention. But no, but we're, as Dave said, we work with small, medium-sized business owners. Many of our clients are veterans or have ties to the veteran community. We own different companies. And consult many companies. And as Dave said, our real calling in life at this point in our life is to help companies grow, create great jobs, have great success. That's our way of giving back and able to still serve.
That's a fact.
We appreciate your service. We appreciate you guys being here today to talk about some things. We kind of call it Culture Matters, the 5 key things to build a better business. Oh, watch now. It's not going to work. There it goes.
Hey.
So I'm going to kind of turn this over to these guys a little bit. We'll join the conversation as we go along, but I want to give it to them for the roadmap for success, challenging the new normal, whatever the new normal is in today's world, but how to motivate, empower, and ignite your team. So
go ahead, Dave.
Sweet. So this is something Phil and I are both passionate about. There's one thing we know. Companies have either leaders or they have managers, and companies have managers. Typically, their employees are miserable because they are task focused and they're not people focused, and they're not doing the things that grow and develop a culture to ensure you succeed. And one of the challenges to a lot of business owners is that they try to get too far in the weeds with their team and don't let their team do what they're capable of doing. So these 5 things we're going to talk about, they're not new. They're not ours. Kuzi and Posner did these in the 50s. They haven't changed. And if you follow these 5 simple steps we're going to talk about today and really live this in your daily life and your business, you're going to have a strong culture and a strong team. Yeah, and
I think one of the things you got to remember, if you're a leader of an organization, then you need to remember this. If they were good enough to hire, then they should be good enough to inspire. And so inspire your folks, help them take ownership of what they're responsible for, support them. And that's one of the key differences between managers and leaders. Managers are very important. I don't want to, you've got to have good management folks in your organizations, but you also have to understand the difference between managers and leaders. And a great leader understands that your job is to inspire, support, and to really have that servant mentality to your folks so that they feel empowered to go out and do the things that they're gifted to do. That's where great leaders thrive, is they're confident enough to let other people do what they're great at doing.
And they also understand the importance of communication. And they typically over-communicate, and they're there for their people and team when they have a challenge. And I'll be honest with you, if you're a veteran on here today, I think one of the biggest challenges of transition is that team, right? You left that team of brothers and sisters that had your back all the time, 24 hours a day, and you go work in a normal job or start a company. It's not that same atmosphere. So it's up to us to build that environment inside our company.
A unit cohesion, right?
Yep.
That deal of us against the world, in a positive way. And, there's a lot of challenges, again, for our veteran brothers and sisters. When you transition out, there's a lot of challenges when you leave military service and go to the private sector. And so it's not just one thing, but I think, we've all got to remember who were the great leaders in your life and how did they make you feel? And then you want to try to emanate, that. The reality is that great leaders understand that people want to be included, they want to be trusted, they want to be empowered, and they want to be supported. And if you do those things, great things happen in your organization.
So you want to talk about how to support them?
Sure.
How to build that? Cool.
Love that.
Before we move on to, just remember, if you have a question or something, put that in the chat, and we're going to address those as we go too, because we want to make sure this is as interactive as we can too, and not just three old fat guys sitting up here. Well, Dave's not really fat.
Wait, so that means I'm fat?
I've gotten fat.
I'm fat.
This pandemic's a terrible.
Darren just called me fat. Did you see that?
I'm gonna. Rebecca, please tell your husband thank you. But more importantly, Rebecca, being a spouse of a veteran is harder than being a veteran. So thank you for your service and taking care of your husband.
But please, again, I won't go back to that. Get past that comment and get your questions in there so we can address those a little bit as we go along too. So we're just here to have fun.
I'm just short for my height, Darren. I'm not on my weight. I'm just short for my weight. It's not that I'm really fat. I'm just short for my weight.
Let's move along, shall we?
All right. So if you guys don't follow Simon Sinek, if you don't listen to his stuff, he's very inspiring. He's very intelligent. He's very thoughtful when it comes to people. And there are 1,000 things you can learn from just watching him. It's free out there. It's motivational. I would highly recommend following his YouTube channel. It's good stuff. But he says it this way: a team is not a group of people that work together. A team is a group of people who trust each other. And I want you to go back to your family and your service. And, the question is always, who do I trust?
Yep.
I think since I separated or retired 9 years ago now, that's one of the biggest challenges for me is who do you trust when you stepped out? How do you get the help you need? What do you do to move forward?
Well, Dave and I scare a lot of our non-veteran clients. We were on a trip in Canada a few years back, and we're in the middle of this meeting, and Dave and I are going at it just because we challenge each other.
Yeah.
And we have very frank conversations, very professional with each other. Sometimes it can get a little sporty, but it's good. And again, our brothers and sisters, veterans, they understand this. When you're doing a mission debrief, sometimes feelings and emotions aren't on the top of the list. Yeah. But the reality is there's trust in that room, and so you can have those frank conversations. You always want to be professional with folks, but at the end of the day, if there's trust, you're going to move forward.
So we're going to talk about the 5 things you can do to build trust now. We'll jump into the first one.
Oh, you want me to do that?
I can click it if you want me to.
I mean, I can do it. I'm fat. I mean, I can hit the button.
So the first thing that great leaders do is they set the example, right?
Right.
They model the way I like to call it. If you were a bowler and you were a little kid in bowl, they put the bumpers on the lane and gave you boundaries, right?
So I was bowling as a little kid.
Well, you're a lot older than some of these people.
Okay.
I mean, we are. We didn't have fancy bumpers when we were kids.
Darren, you look good for 70, though.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
So the idea here is if you're a leader, you set the standard and you model the example.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line is you've got to, that old saying, don't ask somebody to do something you're not willing to do. It is that simple. Again, and I'm going to say this word repeatedly, but be professional in the process. But, and I'll give you an example. Dave and I work with a lot of companies, and even in our own companies. Operations and sales, it's like this constant rub, right? Sales thinks nobody else matters but them. Operations thinks sales are a necessary evil. And the great organizations figure out a way, how to bridge that. And it's typically because there were great leaders in the organization that helped them and showed them, how to bridge that and to create a culture where everybody's equally as important. I mean, if people, again, when you were serving, I'd have people say, they'd ask about the job, and I'd always say, well, I was a cook, because to me, cook was one of the most important jobs in the military. I mean, don't feed me and see how well that goes, right? I mean, I got to have my grub, right? But there's jobs or there's positions that sometimes I think people that maybe aren't as sexy as other jobs that people don't think about, but they're every bit as important in the accomplishment of the mission or in the execution of a business plan or a business's vision and mission statement. So you got to really set a standard and set the example when you're a leader of an organization.
And one of the simple ways you do it, I've seen a lot of owners of large companies do this time and time again in my life, is if you see something wrong, make immediate correction. And what I mean by that is you see trash on the ground, don't point somebody to go pick it up. You go do it yourself. Trust me, your team will see that and they will step in and they'll be talking about you like, oh crap, the boss did this. We're in trouble. Don't get in trouble. Hey, we're going to keep the place tidy. And if I have to do it, I'll do it. Right. So part of modeling the way is doing the things that you expect your team to do and then having that conversation with them later in a polite way going, hey, let's make sure we keep the place clean. Let's make sure we do these little things that make a difference.
Right. And a great example of a good friend that worked for one of Ross Perot's companies when Ross was still with us and was up, and really before a lot of people knew who Ross Perot was. And he told the story literally about Ross Perot every night would carry out a bag of trash to the dumpster when he left. And this is a multi-billionaire that every day would tie off his trash and he would carry it out himself and put it in the dumpster outside the office building. And he's still talking about this 30 years later. I mean, it is these little things that make a huge impression on people. When we're all in basic training or at the academies or however we first started in the military, remember they had us do all those crazy things, the 6-inch squares, your toothbrush had to be a 1/2 inch off the bottom left side, and all this stuff. And you don't really understand why until you realize you got to do the little things before the big things come together.
That's a fact.
And Tracy sat here and said that, people don't like micromanagement, trust and communication's the big things. That you hit kind of my pet peeve is that micromanagement piece, especially. Let the individual do their job as a leader. You can still supervise it, but let them do their job. And if they need that correction, you professionally and politely correct it so that in the future, that hopefully that won't happen again.
And that all ties in. That's why I say if they're good enough to hire, they're good enough to inspire. Exactly. Because you want to inspire people to go do the jobs that they were hired to do. Yep. If you feel the need to micromanage somebody as a leader, then you need to check yourself and reevaluate how you're approaching your day-to-day activities. Bottom line is people will work so very hard if they feel like they're trusted and that they're given the ability and the opportunity to go out and do what they need to do. You will get so much more quality work out of people by creating that kind of culture than anything else.
I think you kind of turn them into more of a robot. By
yeah.
micromanaging, and then they're not going to do. Like you said, pick up that little piece of trash.
Right.
They're not going to pick up that piece of trash because they're not being told or trained to do so because they're being so micromanaged.
Yeah. Simple things, little things. Yeah, they matter.
So the second thing you want to do, and this is probably the most important piece on here, because if your team doesn't buy into what you're doing, they're not going to be on the team, right? So inspire a shared vision. If you have a vision for your organization that you haven't shared with your company, and you haven't gotten their input on developing that vision, then it's not a shared vision. It's your idea of what you want. What I would encourage you to do as a leader is to bring your leaders on your team to a table and discuss what the vision of the future is and see where they sit. And then offer suggestions where you see the company. It is your company. It is your vision. Absolutely. But if you don't inspire it as a shared vision for the team and they can't repeat it, then it doesn't do any good. I bet you $5 I can walk into any of your company today and go, what's your company's vision? And none of your employees can tell me. So I would tell you, if that's the case, you need to make sure you get it posted. You're talking to them about it. You're asking that question so they know where they're headed. Your vision is where you're headed in the next 3 to 5 years as an organization.
Well, and I would suggest that if people, and Dave's right, very few people, if any, that we've met, if you went out on the floor, if it was a manufacturing plant, or you went into the office areas in maybe a service business or something, and you ask them about the vision of the company, most will look at you like they're lost. What I would suggest is that where the mistake's already been made, if you're not including your people in those conversations about what the vision is, what direction are we heading, you're missing the boat. The best in my opinion, what I've seen and what I've experienced is the best ideas come from the folks that are doing the work.
Yeah, no doubt.
And you've got to have a culture that allows people to feel comfortable to say things that maybe after they say them, they go, dadgummit, I shouldn't have said that. That doesn't make any sense. But there's no judgment. It's a free flowing of ideas. It's a free flowing of observations, of vision, because it's like goal setting, right? We've had clients that says, well, you do goal setting. Yeah, I give them to them every year. So you're giving an adult their goals. Yeah. I mean, they won't do it. Well, how do you, that is a prototype or that's a prototypical reaction response of a manager, of somebody that's just trying to push things through to check it off the box. Say, yeah, I've done that. You've got to hear from the folks within your organization, in my opinion, to truly build an effective strategic plan.
Another thing about that is that when you inspire a shared vision, your team knows what the vision is. Yeah. They know where they fit, and they know the importance of their job. So go back to your career in the military. For me, being a pilot flying airplanes, the maintainers I worked with, they knew how important their mission was, because if they didn't turn the wrench the right way or something was broken on the jet, they didn't get fixed, then we couldn't save American lives on the ground. And they knew that. And we talked about it every day before you fly. I'd give them a hug and thank them and tell them how much I appreciate all the work they're doing, because every job in your company matters. And when they know where they fit in that, and if they don't do their piece, the rest of the team can't do their piece, you start building that trust, that teamwork to get the mission accomplished to reach your vision and goals.
Not to mention, the person hasn't been born that can do everything inside an organization. That person's never been born. And so if you're not empowering folks, if you're not, not creating a shared vision with all the teammates within your company, you're going to operate at a very low percentage of your possible effectiveness, because you're obviously trying to do too many things. And you got all these skilled people, all these talented people, and they're handcuffed.
Yep.
They're just handcuffed, So being a great leader, it's all about having enough confidence to let other people go fly. You got to allow them to go do the things that they do so well.
A couple more comments we've had. Colleen said, lead by the example.
Yep.
And that was what you were talking about a while ago as well. And then Tracy put in there, we have to be the eyes and the ears for the leaders and communicate what we can. I watch a lot of Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares.
Yeah.
And it's weird to think that how much you can learn from a guy that's going in and saving these restaurants. But how often have you heard on that show from the chef saying, well, who creates your menu? Well, the owner did. You're the chef. Did you have any input?
No.
Well, no. Well, how important is that to have the chef that's preparing the food help with that menu? And that's kind of what we've talked about there too, is getting everyone involved. You have to let them share what they know as well.
Well, and again, it goes back. That's a great point. I believe it was Tracy made that point. Is that right? If you're not listening to the folks that are executing the actual duties, good Lord, there's a name for that, and it's called a fool. Just to be real direct. You've got to listen to people.
Is that how you really feel?
You've got to listen to people.
We don't pull bunches.
Well, you can't listen.
He's right.
Listen, bottom line is we're talking about people's businesses. This is how they're going to feed their families. This is how they're going to create a legacy. And for the employees, it's how they feed their families, how they create a legacy. This is important stuff. And you can't let ego get in the way of doing what's right. And that happens way too much. Typically what we see working with clients is if there's a culture like what we're describing here that's bad, where there's people are micromanaging and they've got their thumb on everybody and people are scared to suggest or to say what needs to be said, that starts at the top, guys. It's not the person you hired 3 months ago's problem. Right. And so you've got to take a hard look at yourself. I tell Dave all the time, people want to, I'm going to say this, you might have to edit this. Everybody wants to be a bad, bad A word until it's time to do bad A word stuff, and you can't, being tough. We talk about being warriors all the time, or being a tough person. We're not talking about physically. We're not talking about that stuff. We're not, I think we're a little more evolved than that. But it's doing those difficult things. It's doing the things that's not easy to do. It's trusting the new employee to walk out their job. And to your point, Darren, if you see something, then there's a right way to approach that. Don't go in there and take their head off to where they'll never be creative again. They'll never suggest anything again. Now you've just ruined that employee. Take the time to treat them like a teammate and somebody who's important and valued, and it'll go miles.
So the next thing I want you to do is challenge your team to challenge the process.
Oh boy.
What do I mean by that is that no process is perfect. If your team is not pushing to the point of failure every day to get better, then you're not going to get better. If they're just doing the routine stuff day in and day out, and they're not looking at the process and how they do things and what you're doing and how they can get better and pushing each other, you might as well give up, because your company will never grow to the potential it can, because you aren't asking the tough, hard questions. You aren't allowing your team to ask you the tough, hard questions. I mean, how many of you have been in an organization where you ask a question about process and the person goes, "We've been doing it that way here for the last 30 years. If that is the response you hear, that should be a red flag, because you're going, okay, why have we been doing it that way for 30 years? And is it right or is it wrong? And do we need to look, has technology changed? Has anything changed in the environment that we can improve?"
Well, and I would, the key word for me in all these conversations is culture. If you don't create the right culture, if you don't create a culture where people feel confident in their ability and the freedom to suggest things, talk about things, bring up solutions, bring up alternative ways to do things, if you don't have that kind of culture, you're dead in the water. I mean, you're dead in the water. You're never going to reach what you could really be as a company. You're just not. I mean, so you've got to create a culture where people feel empowered, and where they feel confident in their and that they have permission to say, "Hey, boss, this is what I was thinking," or if it's a sales rep that comes in out in the field, when we do this is the feedback we get. Or if it's in operations, well, once the orders come in, they're giving us 2 weeks lead time. We need 3 weeks lead time, and this is what causes a bad customer experience. So think about it. You go out and sell something. Say you sell widgets. Sales reps go sell it. Order comes in, and they have an unrealistic turn time to get the widgets out to the customer. So now you've created the first experience they've had with your company, a brand new customer, is a bad experience. And why is that? It's because nobody's listening. You've got to be honest with where your shortcomings are as an organization. And the only place that's going to happen is in a culture that really promotes that.
One of the things I found that works really well is I always challenge my new leaders to fail. And they look at me like I'm crazy. But what I mean by that is I wanted them to push the limits in their organization, stay within the boundaries of legal and safe, right? Don't do things unsafe or illegal. And if you follow those boundaries, you're in pretty good shape. But what happened was these young leaders would go out and try new things with their organization to grow it faster, better, stronger, whatever. And sometimes they'd fall on their face, right? The best part of that was we'd have a conversation about, okay, why do you think that failed and what did you learn?
Yeah.
And how are you going to apply the lessons you learned to your next step? And that's what we're talking about here, challenge the process. You've already modeled the way in the first, piece of this. Now you're telling people within the boundaries, I want you to go do the best you can and see what you can improve and where you can make our company better.
Yeah, I know Dave would add this too, ethically. It's got to be legal. It's got to be right. Do what's right. You do what's right. It's amazing how much the confidence level within an organization goes up across to everybody. Right. If everybody's just pulling the rope in the same direction to do what's right, to take care of their customers, to create a great work environment for the employees, it kind of, a lot of the other stuff kind of takes care of itself. I mean, it really does. So I think, have a culture again that promotes free thinking and sharing of ideas, and you're going to go a long ways to reaching your goals as a company. So
Tracy, I want to jump on this. It's my favorite saying. Why is the windshield larger than the rearview mirror? Because you should be looking ahead of yourself, not behind yourself. There's a great comment in here, and we all need to remember that. It's super, super important. Darren, you have anything?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay, just checking. The next to last one is enable others to act. If you don't give the people on your team the tools and the resources to do their JOB, they're not going to do their JOB for you. and it's your fault, right? If you don't give them the power to make a decision to go execute, they've got to ask mother for permission. Mother, may I? You're setting your team up for failure because they can't go out and do things. And so what if they make a mistake? So long as you catch it and you learn from it. Human beings are going to fail. There's only been one perfect human on the planet, and it's not me, right? So enable your team to act, give them the power to do their job and the tools they need to succeed.
Yeah, and we've talked about it throughout our conversation today, but that culture, people have to feel empowered to do this. You know, they have to. If they don't feel it, they won't do it. I mean, you know, think about it. Everybody sometimes we make life so hard. Let's say, look at a new employee. A new employee comes in, they're trying to do everything right. They're trying to learn everything. They're trying to learn culture. They're trying to learn new product, new services, trying to learn the dynamic of the office, trying to learn the dynamic of the organization. There's all these things that are going on, you know, so they're a little nervous to begin with, right? Then you look at maybe that person that's been there 20 years. A lot of times they feel left behind. They feel not heard. They feel like not appreciated. I mean, there's all these different, so it doesn't matter if you've been there 20 days or 20 years, you know, if you're not working as a leader to create a culture where people are empowered and they're encouraged to go out and, as Dave says, make mistakes, you know, you're not going to operate at the efficiency level that you could. And so, you know, lucky for me, most things in life are simple, right? I mean, they really are. We can put fancy titles on things. We can try to create them to make them look much more difficult than they are, but they're not. Most things that work are simple. You know, respect each other, respect each other's opinions, create a culture where people want to talk and want to share ideas. That's going to solve a lot of any organization's challenges. It just is.
Stephen Jobs said it best, the founder of Apple, simple is hard. It is and it isn't. The challenge we run into is that we want people to think we're super smart, so we overcomplicate things as opposed to taking the simple path where everybody can understand it. I would encourage you as an owner of a business to simplify every process you have. Make sure your 5-year-old child can understand what to do and how to do it, and then go let your team improve it.
Yeah.
Using big words does not make you smart. Making processes overly complicated does not make you smart. It makes you foolish, and it will hurt your business in the long run.
Well, and Darren, you talked about it. Micromanagers. We've all had experiences in that if you've lived very long. And, you know, those people are not respected by the masses. Those are also usually the people that do that have favorites, that create cliques within organizations.
You love cliques.
Oh, yeah. I don't do well with cliques, but you know, you can pick them out a mile away.
Yep.
You know, they keep things from certain employees. They share them with their clique. The cliques can do no wrong. Everybody else, it seems like they're always running uphill. I mean, it's just a horrible culture, And Dave knows I just sold an interest in a company that has that problem, and it's unhealthy, you know, and that was the reason why I sold. It was unhealthy.
You're much less stressed out too.
Yes, I am. I sleep better. Yeah.
You know, it's just like, we talk about that. I've had supervisors in the past that you could not even go to the restroom without asking permission.
Right.
That's that controlling. And it's one of those things that you don't want to do anything. That's what we said a while ago. You mentioned that you don't want to work if you don't have any kind of control or any kind of feeling of authority or power to do your own job. I've
been asked by clients, well, what would it take for you to go to work for me? And I said, I'd be your worst employee around this place. I'd be the worst, not a bad employee. I would be the worst employee you've ever had, because I can't be in a culture where somebody's pounding their fist on a table and, you know, somebody's going to tell me, a grown man that's 55 years old, when I can go to the bathroom. We ain't going to make it very long there. I mean, it's just not going to work. Right. I mean, and again, to me, these are all common sense things. Treat people with dignity, treat them with respect, you know, have expectations. I'm not saying not to have expectations, but when you've created that culture, you can have expectations, and people don't resent expectations. They like them. Right. They like them because they feel included, because they are. It's not, you know, you're not playing a trick on somebody as a good leader. It's not like you're manipulating people you're creating a culture where they can truly thrive. And that takes care of all these other things.
And they don't not only can thrive, they want
to thrive. They're going to work harder than they would ever work in any other environment.
And they're happy.
And that was one of the things that was kind of the last job I had before this one was I was so limited on what I could do without permissions.
Right.
I came here and they're like, quit asking us.
Go do it.
Go do your job.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, wait a minute. I love that idea, but I'm after so many years of being told what I can and can't do, now I'm being allowed to do my job. It feels great. And I'm going to bust my tail in to do everything I can to make it a success.
I know a gentleman that was wasn't one of the owners, but was figuratively the head of the organization, and was upset one time because an employee did something without clearing it with him first. And I said, well,
did it work?
I said, it worked, right? Well, yeah. And it's kind of within their job description, right? Yeah, but they didn't tell me. Oh, brother. Man, oh man. First of all, you ain't gonna live very long because you're gonna be so stressed out worrying about every little, and it's just, but again, it goes back to that micromanagement, that my way or the highway, all the old sayings that we all know. This is 2021, guys, that we're not living in a world, and there was a time in our society where, because when we came up in it, where, it was the pound the fist, the ironclad, the lead through intimidation, which doesn't work long term. It may work in the second that something's going on, but you also lose great employees in those moments. You'll have a situation where you lead through intimidation and they file that away mentally and say it's time for me to start looking somewhere else. And you lose great employees, which is an expensive thing to do. As the owner of a company, that is there's nothing more expensive than losing a good employee. It's terrible. So
you've never done the first philosophy as a leader in a training unit?
Never.
Fear, intimidation, ridicule, sarcasm, and training first?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're using the first philosophy to empower your people, it's a bad plan. Please don't do that. I've worked with some instructors that were that way when I was flying and younger. It was miserable, to say the least.
Bob Newhart said it best when he said, stop it.
Stop it.
Remember that clip?
That's the best clip
Stop
ever. On a funny side, if you want to see a good YouTube clip, look up Bob Newhart, Stop It. It's pretty funny.
Oh, it's one of the funniest things you'll ever see.
And then the last one is encourage the heart. And you've got to recognize success by your team. And trust me, you've got people that are introverts that don't want to be recognized. You got people that are extroverts that love being recognized. Find a way to say thank you to your team. Because when you recognize the work your team's doing, you just give them a simple thank you. You have no idea how much power that carries through the organization. You need to get up from behind your desk. You need to go walk around your organization. You need to get to know your people. You need to recognize their success and wins.
Yeah, one of the companies we own, one of our other companies, deals with employee recognition, benefits, a lot of things like that. And people always think it's the expensive things that people want. It's not. It's the simple things. It is the thank you. It is the, you've got a staff meeting and you recognize, I like to say, find people doing great things, try to surprise them by finding it. One of the coolest incentives, and I would encourage you guys to try this, cost you nothing. Go out and print out certificates, have nice, maybe it costs you a few bucks, but print out some certificates and talk about, you call it whatever, my all-stars or outstanding, whatever you want to call it. And then give those to all the employees in your organization. And when they see somebody doing a great job, let your employees recognize other employees. Let them pull out and give them that certificate to say, man, you're doing a great job. You're going to create this incredible team culture, right? Where now, again, you got to be confident enough to where you don't have to be the person that's always shaking the hand and giving the certificate. The truth is you shouldn't be. You need to do that as well. But so should everybody else in the organization. Create a culture of people that want to do better every day, and great things will happen.
It's a fact. John said it best here. He said, "Management by walking around." Yes, sir. No. And the more, the better. We need to unplug from our computer. We need to unplug from our telephone and get out in the organization to see what's going on, how we can help. That's what it amounts to. And we all have that boss, right? He or she is too busy to talk to you because they're doing email and they're on the phone or they're in a meeting. They're in the wrong place.
I saw a great, it was a funny clip that somebody had created. and I'm going to pick on my friends in education for a second. It was a clip of a superintendent, a make-believe superintendent of schools.
I was hoping somebody
that all you could see was them, but they were supposedly talking to a coach. Said, "Hi, I'm so and so. He said, I'm the superintendent here. I think I hired you 7 years ago. I haven't seen you since then, but he goes through the deal and says, well, I see here you've never lost a game and you've won 7 champions. That's great. It's just not working for me. We're going to have to go in a different direction. And it usually what the whole point behind it is when you're intimidated by your teammates' success, when you're bothered by that, people do crazy things. I've seen people move people out of departments and literally the owner has said this, where they're getting too much, too many people are looking to them as a leader.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Well, they are a leader. Why wouldn't you want that? What it really came down to is that owner was insecure. They didn't want the competition. It was about them and not about the best thing for the organization and ultimately your customers, clients, and employees. So, do the right thing, build a culture that's fun, that has expectations, that respects one another, and you'll have great success.
So we have another section of this presentation. We've been going for 40 minutes today. It's a long time to be online. So we're going to send this out to everybody as a PDF. And it's basically a how to lead the meetings and what they should look like. Yeah. If you want more information on that, Death by Meetings, name of the book we pulled the information from. But the slides are pretty self-explanatory. And if you need anything, info@exon.co or just reach out to us on our website or on our telephone. We are here to answer questions, and more importantly, we like making friends. So if you just want to come have coffee with us, come by the office. It's just Phil and I. We get lonely every now and then, so come hang out with us and talk to what you're doing. We'd love to help you and get to know you. I guess that's the big thing for everybody.
Well, and I want to be clear too. The work Darren is doing here and what they're producing, we're here to support that mission with you veterans and whatever we can do to help and assist Darren in that. We're here. So whatever resources we have, you can get with Darren. Darren can get with us as well. But and really go check out, the website and check out the work they're doing. We were talking before we came on air. So many people don't know what all's available and what all's there to help them. So we're here to support Darren and his mission and ultimately support you guys. So whatever we can do, let us know.
Well, Tracy has a good boss. That's why she's out there working with the rest of them. Tracy was complimenting her boss.
Oh, very good.
Publicly. So that's a pretty big deal right there.
That's very good.
And John said, sign me up. And Connie said, yes. So we appreciate that. Just realize from our perspective, working with Darren and everybody else, we're better together, right?
Absolutely.
If we can find ways to work together and help each other, there's not a goal we can't accomplish in the state of Oklahoma. We can make this the best community in the world. Pretty close to it already. But we are better together. So we look forward to hearing from all you guys.
And John, you said sign me up. If you haven't gone to the website, the OKVetWorks on the ODBA website, go ahead and sign up in there where it says connect with the entrepreneur program. That way we've got contact information on you there, and we can send out our newsletters that we send out monthly, our trainings that we do monthly, podcasts, and all my contact information is on the screen for you as well. So anybody that needs to sign up, pass the word around of wanting to start a business or just needs help with the business, especially the veteran side. I'll be more than willing to help them. I know these gentlemen are too. Yep. You can connect through me or through them, either one, and that way we can work together and make it a success for everybody.
And we were talking this morning, just so everybody knows, we're going to try to create some meetups where we can all get together and shake hands and get to know each other. Of course, with the pandemic, we're going in the right direction. Everything's good there, and hopefully over time here before long we can get back totally to normal. But try to create some meetups where people can get together face to face and get to know one another. We'll get some information on those as well. And then we want to do, we're going to be working with Darren to create some ongoing training like this, what we're talking about here, but on different topics, specifically geared towards our sister and brother veterans out there that are trying to grow businesses or want to get one started.
I think this has been awesome. I appreciate everybody being here today, and I definitely appreciate these guys. And
I got to go to the gym and eat a salad.
Apparently.
Goodness.
I'm still trying to move past that now. But appreciate them coming along to help out this morning.
You can tell I'm very bothered by that.
I am. I
You
know.
heard his,
I body shamed it.
I don't have any feelings.
he's got to fill out a form, put in a 6, the hurt feelings report. He'll get that into you later today.
That or the ID10T. But anyway, yes, I know what those do.
That's awesome.
We appreciate you being here. We will do some more of these pretty soon.
Yeah.
And again, as they always say,
We're out of
We're
here.
We're out of here.